Good evening, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our November 12th Town of Manchester meeting. Happy to see a bunch of people here. So we'll start off with a few things. We'll do the approval of the October 24th minutes. If I could have a motion for that.
I'll make a motion we approve the October 8th, 2024 minutes.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Also, the receipt of the August 2024 Treasurer's Report.
I'll make a motion that we receive the August 2024 Treasurer's Report.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Two more. September Treasurer's Report.
I'll make a motion that we receive the September Treasurer's Report.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. And one last one, the October 2024 check register.
I'll make a motion we receive the October 2024 check register.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries as well. All right, a couple things we're going to go over this evening. First off, the yard waste pickup. I know we go over this every month, but I'll reiterate it again. Every Wednesday through December 18th. Please no plastic bags. Put it in the brown bags if you would. Put it out curbside the evening before because they tend to come a little early to get that taken care of. The town hall will be closed November 28th and 29th for Thanksgiving holiday. Leaf pickup will be every Monday beginning October 28th through December 2nd. So it's already started and it will go through December 2nd. Don't bag them, only put them to the curb and they'll come through and pick them up. I know they were out there early today because yesterday they didn't get out because we were closed, so that was great. Everything got picked up. If it's bad weather and they're not able to get there, just be patient. Obviously, they will get to them. Please remove the sticks because that tends to cause some problems with the equipment. And make sure they're on the curb and collected nicely. Also, please don't pile leaves around mailboxes, basketball hoops, things like that, because we don't want to damage anybody's property. Freezing temps are going to be coming eventually, I think. Today might be the first day that's going to get cold. It's been so warm. All the town streets are snow emergency routes, so when the snow emergency plan is in effect, parking is prohibited. The police are very nice and have always tended to go around and give warnings. We can't always do that, so try to do it on your own so they don't have to do that. They do give fines for that, so please. The Department of Public Works are asking that we disconnect all your garden hoses before winter so we don't run the risk of pipes freezing and things like that happening when they expand from the cold weather. And just a quick reminder that all basketball nets are in the street or hanging into the street must be moved when the trash is being collected or snow removal. The town won't be responsible for any damage to any of that. So please make sure they're not near the road. And remember to help with the firefighters because keep the hydrants shoveled out if you could. Sometimes people tend to put snow on top of them. And that's a problem if we would have a fire. Hopefully we don't, but we don't want to take that chance. Also, for those of you that remember from last year, we did our first annual Santa stroll here at Town Hall. We're going to do it again. It'll be Friday, November 29th, Black Friday. It starts at 6 o'clock. Normally what we do is we start up here. I believe Santa Claus and the fire engine will be up here. We'll say a few words. We'll light the tree for the season. The police will then, as they did last year, get you down the street, start you down. I don't know if they'll let us know how you're going to handle it this year, if we're going to cut across or what we're going to do. They'll be here to tell us how we're going to do it. And then we go down for the tree lighting. The tree lighting, then we do the Santa stroll down to Trinity Lutheran Church. We do the lighting and nativity at Trinity. And then we head down to the train garden, kickoff for the Manchester Firehouse for their open house, where they'll have the Santa Claus there and you're able to get photos, and they always have little snacks, and they have their big train garden, which is always a big hit. So we look forward to seeing everybody here for that. If you could, that would be wonderful. We just meet out front at the main doors and kick it off there. Also, I know Ms. Bell would be not happy if I didn't say, the Historical Center will probably be open. If anybody hasn't been in there, it's something neat to see. Pop in there if you can too. So look forward to seeing everyone here for that. I think that's all I have right now. As I remember, I'll interject because I tend to do that sometimes. Steve, do you have the Public Works report?
Yes, I do. Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the community. Under Public Works, you have in front of you the monthly water and wastewater data report for October 2024. A couple items I'd like to bring to your attention is the precipitation amount. We never received a tenth of an inch in October. And some of our wells are showing signs of moderate stress, and you can see that on the report. I guess if you want a drought, now's the time to have a drought because we don't have the filling of the pools and watering of the grass. Even though we're not supposed to, it still happens. So our consumption is down. So hopefully over the next several weeks we get some decent precipitation and bring those wells back.
I forgot to mention the burn ban. Are you going to mention that?
Yes,
Okay.
the burn ban is in effect. It's statewide until question mark.
Okay.
So, yep. Under DPW staff training, we had a flagger training at the Carroll County Roads Department. Now DPW staff are 100% flagger certified. Under water and wastewater, the York Street Water Tower Rehab Project is 95% complete, and the tank will begin refilling the tank next week. The PFAS mitigation project, I have that in my report. I'll talk a little bit about that. The lead and copper rule revision update, all information has been entered and submitted on time to MDE. Rodney wants to thank Danielle Owens, Caleb Matthews, and Delbert Green for all their hard work in that project. The wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrade, Adam Smith from CDM Smith is here this evening. We'll give a short presentation on the 30% design complete. Under parks, maintenance, and facilities and stormwater management facilities, the Christmas Tree Park swing set, that installation is 100% complete. Town staff took care of that. The Tot Lot Playground toy replacement at Crossroads Overlook, the materials are to be delivered this week. Installation time frame to be determined. Storm drain rehab project for fiscal year 25, totaling 19 repairs. Work to begin mid-November. The contractor is Stanballs Incorporated. The Town Hall parking lot bollard installation right out front here, that is 100% complete, and town staff took care of that. The asphalt rehabilitation project for fiscal year 25 is 98% complete. There are a few housekeeping items remaining and will be completed this week. Tree trimming by town staff. Maintenance staff trimmed various trees throughout the town on town property, mostly on Westminster Street last month, and he has nice job staff. So, and Mayor Smith went over the leaf collection. So that began several weeks ago and goes through Monday, December the 2nd. Okay, moving right along. Any questions on Public Works? Okay, moving right along into the administrative report. As I mentioned, Adam Smith is here from CDM Smith to give us an update on the wastewater treatment plant ENR project. The PFAS project, Kelly and I had a meeting on November the 8th with the Maryland Infrastructure Financing Administration to give us insight into how the $6.5 million loan principal forgiveness monies work. It was very enlightening. We learned a lot of things. Also, we visited Hampstead and met with Jim Rourke, their town manager, and Tom Devilbliss, special projects coordinator. And both of those gentlemen supplied Kelly and I some valuable information on the principal forgiveness monies. So more to come on that. So, the Manchester Elementary School ADA crosswalk project, I contacted the Board of Education for permission, in which we needed to supply them with plans of the proposed ramp. Mr. Ray Procroft, Director of Facilities, advised me that this permission request will go to the board for permission at their December 11th meeting. So I supplied them with drawings and all the pertinent information they needed to give us permission to install the ADA ramp. The Westminster Street Sewage Pump Station Upgrade Project, there's no movement on that. Antietam Broadband Fiber Project, the underground is moving along well. Aerial is approximately 80% complete. They're working with BG&E on acquiring permits for the remaining 20% of the aerial work that has to be done. The COOP plan, or the continuance of operations plan, after reviewing the draft, there were numerous concerns. We requested a meeting with the company that wrote it to correct the issues. That email went out last week, and I haven't heard a word out of them yet. So that's still pending. The Manchester East Stormwater Facility, no significant movement on that. The Main Street trees and sidewalks, Mayor Smith and I attended a meeting with Commissioner Kyler and Ms. Roberta Wyndham on November the 8th to discuss this issue. They gave us some good pointers, some places to look for funding, and they are there to assist us. So that was a very, very good meeting. So the Main Street Crosswalks refurbishment project, no specific start date has been given, but MDOT SHA assures the town it will be completed. The survey of the town parking lot behind Spargo's, the property pins have been set, and we are waiting for a plot plan. Charlotte's Quest Nature Center nonprofit status. Michelle Wilder contacted the Carroll County Community Foundation, and the foundation advised that the Nature Center has all the paperwork completed and is in good standing. And I think Councilperson Howe has some other information during her report. So, the Manchester Post Office lease agreement, I'm in the process of putting the correspondence together with our concerns regarding their request. This is something that I emailed you folks with a couple weeks ago. The Watershed Action Plan grant for a tributary at Big Pipe Creek. Apparently the town applied for a $55,000 grant to develop a watershed action plan in the area of Westside Park just off of Route 27. Staff has a meeting scheduled for November 14th, this Thursday, with Hanover Land Design, and this is the company designated to complete the action plan. More to follow. So I'm a little vague on what this grant includes. I do know that to get the $55,000, you have to put $10,000 of your own money into it, and we just have to find out more about it. And I guess my question is, how does it benefit the town? So that's the question I'll have on Thursday when we meet with the rep from Hanover Land Design. The town administrator's position, it was advertised in MML, the town's Facebook page, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed. And the applications are due back December 6th. As of today, we have received 30. So we'll have to take the time to review those after December 6th. Under code enforcement and zoning, you have in front of you the monthly code enforcement update. Equine Meadows, they're still dealing with off-site stormwater issues. And the Maverick 1 solar project should start within the next month. Miscellaneous items, Mayor Smith talked about the Santa Stroll. We're hosting the MML dinner meeting on December 12th. And we have two action items. One action item is on your agenda. It's the solid waste and recycling proposal. And the second one is a proposal to update the security camera system at Town Hall and Police Department. And if you want to, I can do the security camera proposal. So our security camera system here at Town Hall is approaching 10 years old. The cameras are in good condition, but the video recording system and the server are not, and they're showing signs of age. Currently, we run both Town Hall and the Police Department on one video recording system. This proposal would split the recording system and servers into two separate systems. The proposal includes two separate recorders with 90-day storage for Town Hall and 120-day storage for the Police Department, as well as the servers. We received the following proposal for the project from Automated Protection System of $15,000. During this process, another company was contacted. Their plan was to revamp the entire system at a cost of well over $100,000. This proposal meets the fiscal year 25 budget of $15,000 combined, $7,500 from admin and $7,500 from the police budgets. And a special note, this system requires a yearly firmware update for both systems, including cleaning and refocusing of the cameras at a cost of $3,300.
Individually or for both?
for both.
Make a motion?
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion, we go with the staff recommendation to upgrade the Town Hall Police Department security camera systems with automated protection systems for $15,000.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, any questions for me?
Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Chief, police report?
Yep, short and sweet, and good evening, everybody. So year-to-date, we have 83 persons criminally charged. I gotta turn my mic on again. 4 Part 1 crimes, 1,714 traffic stops. Overdoses continue to be down. The year-to-date numbers are 178 versus 280 for a 37% decrease, and that's across the county. The fatalities are 57% down, and we have a year-to-date number of 15 versus 35 last year, so that's an excellent number. You just notice it across the board. Every day we get an update on overdoses, and a lot of times it's no overdose. And that's good numbers compared to last year and the year before, when you get 3 to 4, a day. So this is excellent numbers. Manchester's still holding at 1, Hampstead is 9, Sykesville is 1, Tawnytown is 12, Mount Airy is 3, Westminster is 55, New Windsor's 2, and Union Bridge is 2. For the month of October, we responded to 200 calls for service, both dispatch and phone calls, 14 of which were outside of town to help the sheriff's office out in Hampstead. We investigated 3 domestic assaults, recovered 2 stolen autos. One was from Pennsylvania, that was with an arrest, and the other one was Baltimore or Anne Arundel County? PG County. That subject got away. We believe it's part of a larger ring, because the last car we came across was actually taken from Delaware. I think it was a $110,000 Camaro. It was stripped. They bailed out on Augusta, I think it was. And so anyway, we got that going on. Outside of the domestic assaults, that's pretty much about it for crime. Halloween this year was excellent. The neighborhoods were packed. We had people coming from all over. There was literally thousands of kids out there and their families. We just had one small child. He was lost for a little bit, but he stayed calm. We found his parents, and all ended well. But it was a very good night. The weather was great, and it was great seeing everybody participate. It was definitely a good time. Represented Manchester pretty good. That's about it.
Thank you. Trash bid results, Steve, do you want to do that, or do you want?
I'll let Kelly handle that. She took the lead on that project.
Okay.
So we will be coming to the end of our 5-year agreement with Used Trash on December 31st. They are calendar versus fiscal. So we put out an RFP back in September, reached out to at least 5 different vendors based off of Carroll County's list of haulers. Several of them are, I think 3 of them are actually the same company. They just go by different names, different subsidiaries. The only response we got was from Used Trash Removal. And what I did was I gave you a copy of their current bid for the next 5 years, as well as what they did the last 5-year contract, so you can kind of see the difference. And basically, when we did the budget, I did a guesstimate of, we knew what the first 6 months would be, wasn't sure what the second 6 months would be, and we were kind of close, to be honest with you. So if we do everything to plan with our trash collection, so it's trash, it's recycling, and it's yard waste, they do give us the ability if we want to add additional weeks on yard waste. They also give us the ability if we only want to do 1 tree pickup versus 2. So we will have 2 in January, but they said that people are going to artificial, and usually most people, by the time we do the first pickup, people are getting it out. So that's something maybe we could look to save down the line. I didn't agree to that this year because I thought, we've already kind of set the dates and so forth, but we can look into it. Not that it's a lot of money, but it's an option for us. So based on what we budgeted and what the prices came in, I believe we should be roughly $1,500 over. in what we actually budgeted. But I do have I did do a little bit of overage in the amount of tonnage that we pay for every month. So I know we will not have an issue with making up that $1,500. Matter of fact, that's how we were able to buy the toters this past year, is because of the amount of tonnage that we have put in the landfill. So our recommendation is to go with Hughes Trash for the next 5 years at the prices that they gave us.
So the 8.6%, just to understand the increase, which I totally understand that, but that's the total, and the same, rate is the same every year. It's not an 8% increase per year, it's total.
I only looked at the current price and next year's price to show, because that was the one thing that was roughly the higher amount. When you look at, for example, bulk trash, if you did a percentage, it looks big, but it's a difference of maybe $400. So I only really went with the trash and recycling
But what I'm-
figure per unit.
What I'm
So
saying
yes.
is the price is the same for the next 5 years, we're locking in.
The prices are not the same.
No.
If you look
okay,
at
I
the
see it.
bid
Okay.
tab, it'll go up, it's
When I
97.06,
saw this, I was thinking,
it'll go to
you know,
99.97.
5 years.
But from this year till next year.
Okay, I,
the price
I
went
see
up,
it
yeah.
now. I was going on the other. Okay.
But it looks like within 5 years, it's an increase of about $10.
Did you say decrease?
No, increase
Yes.
of about $10
Uh-huh.
per unit, per pickup, or per year.
And they don't charge more when we bring on new houses, it's the same price.
Okay. All right, could we have a motion for this, please? If anybody, unless anybody has questions?
I'll make a motion that we accept the Hughes trash removal bid.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I think we're going to move to the presentation, if we could, from CDM Smith. Thank you for coming. And we'll take a look at this and see if we have any questions and go from there. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Thank you. I think that's on. Cool, so, thank you, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and give you an update as to where we stand with our design. So I'm Adam Smith with CDM Smith. We're working with the town and Public Work Director, Rodney, quite a bit about, the final design for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade to bring it up to ENR standards. So in general, some things that I just want to touch on here today is just like a design check-in, give you a snapshot as to what we're doing for the town, how it's looking to date. And we have a pretty impressive 3D model put together so far that has been, a lot of effort has gone into it so far to be able to get that model together so that it makes it much more streamlined as we move forward and make modifications to that plan. It's always an effort when you start from scratch, from nothing. Yeah, that was a big endeavor, and pretty happy that that's happened. October 11th, we gave the town a 30% deliverable of a bunch of drawings, and a cost estimate was involved with that too, and a few other items. I want to give you an update on our progress for the December 20th delivery, which is going to be a 60% design submittal. So our kind of rubrics for where we go with design submittals would be 10, 30, 60, 90, and 100. So, 60%, we're going to be pretty far along with the drawings. Things like specifications are starting to be developed and brought along to kind of match with the visual representations of what that vision is there for the plant. Then give you guys an update as to project important dates as to where we're headed. So here as of, the end of October, close to 8,000 man-hours have been, worked on the design. There's a snapshot of what the model looks like for our 3D components, kind of fitting those in around the existing elements of the plant, so that we don't have to be, I think the only thing that we're planning to tear down is the maintenance garage that the staff has there, just to be able to have the space to put this infrastructure in. Everything else will be maintained. Averaging it out, it's 3.8 full-time employee equivalents over the course of a 12-month period. Just to, again, a little snapshot as to like how much work that we've been putting into this for you guys, and appreciate have us be the ones to do it for you. 100+ individuals have contributed to this project so far within CDM Smith, and that also includes CLSI as our land development and stormwater sub-consultant on there. They're really the right people in Carroll County to do that kind of work, and happy to be working with Aaron Valentine over there to make that work. But yeah, just a whole bunch of different say genres of engineers involved as well. There's a listing up there as to like who's doing what, and just a nice smattering of folks. Here's a snapshot from that 3D model. We're working with a lot of these equipment vendors to get their pieces of equipment for what we plan on implementing in there in 3D files, so that we can implement it into our overall model spaces. Really helps to set things up, lay it out, see it, understand, okay, do we have enough space? Do we need more? Are there pipes that are conflicting? Kind of really help set the stage for a good construction if we have a handle on where these pipes and fittings and pieces of equipment go, so that we can hopefully reduce changes down the road. A couple other little snapshots here, and yeah, this is all kind of online based. It uses Autodesk Construction Cloud as the platform to host our Revit models. So it's a nice space that you can just kind of fly around, take section cuts where you are. So image there on the left shows the new headworks, which the town has already purchased a screen for and is on order, and hopefully that comes in soon. That screen will actually be installed in the existing headworks lower level at the plant now, and we'll relocate it into the top right-hand corner, that packaged headworks system. So kind of working with the town now for both the needs now and here during final design. So just a little snapshot into how this works and goes around is that we do have a 3D model set up. That model, you can insert particular views that you want to see have happen, different section cuts that then get generated into the actual paper version of the model itself. So it's kind of a means of, I'd say you don't use the paper to make the model, you use the model to make the paper. So it's a nice process to keep everything organized in one space. Starting off with these models, there's 3 big components to the models and then a bunch of supporting discipline models. The structural deals with all the concrete, deals with the floors and the bases and the foundations. So they kind of have to start everything. They get input from me as somebody who's been involved with the project since the preliminary engineering report, just setting the baseline as what these things need to be, and then create an actual box for things to live in. Architectural, they're involved with buildings, like putting up walls and pieces there. So we do have a pretty significant process building planned as part of this work to house our mechanical equipment. And then process mechanical deals with a lot of the supporting vendors, throughout the region to be able to get 3D models of their spaces and their pieces of equipment and incorporate that in the design so that we can, show what we want to do and how we want to do it. So it's been nice effort there. October 11th, we did deliver to the town, a 30% drawing set. It involved 140 full-size drawing sheets, which I'm sure are laid out beautifully on Steve's desks. And then a draft basis of design report that will be finalized here as part of the 60% deliverable. That's supposed to be the wording and the verbiage for kind of our brains on paper as to what are we doing and what was the intent behind how we got to where we are on the drawings. Specifications, during 30%, we kind of just identify what specifications are going to be there. So far, I think there's 276 that we've, kind of picked out as we think these are going to be the ones that we need to kind of capture the verbiage of, specifically what is a contractor going to be required to do. And those are important because when you have a discrepancy between specs and drawings, the specifications rule. So those need to be good. Also a 30% opinion of probable construction cost, which I know will be a topic in a couple slides here because I know it's of utmost interest to the town. And then we did have the opportunity to meet with the Public Works folks there at our CDM office and went over everything that we gave them. So it's been really good working with Rod and Caleb to kind of piece this together as we've gone along, provide a lot of good, valuable input, and we've tried our best to accommodate. Getting into the opinion of probable construction cost, this is very small. I do have printouts if you guys care to want to take one piece.
Thank you.
And this is just a one-pager snapshot of an overall, I think it was a 60-page breakdown of, piece by piece by piece of, what do we think we're looking at and going towards. This particular slide is just a snapshot of kind of the bigger high-level numbers that we're looking at. By the time that you add all of the various equipment line items and things there, you get your subtotal of about $24.6 million is what we're expecting for that piece. Then we start incorporating various other general conditions costs, overhead and profit for a contractor, construction contingency. See on there, it's common practice at this stage to start reducing some of the equipment cost contingencies. Typically, when those budgetary costs come in, we see them marked up at about 25%. So we try to reduce those to be a bit more in line there. And we have done a good job of getting equipment costs for pretty much every piece of process mechanical equipment that we're going to be touching, because we had to work with these vendors anyway to get their 3D components to incorporate into our design. So where we're landing here with the overall pieces and parts for MDE as an ENR grant contributor as part of this project. Their original look at this from the PER standpoint had the percentages at about, I think it's 65.32 and 34.68, so it's about 2/3, 1/3 MDE cost share, and 1/3 town cost share. When we, put that here now, as I've broken it down, so on your guys' sheet there and, this particular overall look, the various components for this 30% opinion of probable construction cost that went into the percentage breakdowns, because you have to kind of allocate it out across other things that are more like yard piping is something that, they just allocate a percentage to. That percentage during this 30% look was there right around 70% would be for MDE, about 30% for the town. When I look at that cost estimate, there's a few things that happen between, say, the 10% and the 30% that I think can be clarified for the 90% cost estimate, which is kind of the next cost estimate that we put together. I noticed that there were significant components in there for automation and electrical pieces that became much more in focus, but were lumped together into big individual boxes. And I think a majority of those funds can be allocated to ENR grant eligible things. You know, that, and then there's a few items yet, like we are getting much more clarity further along in this design that we go. There's still a few allowance items in there that I think can be clarified a bit more too. So those couple of items alone are 11.4 of the 24.6 subtotal. So I think there's a significant opportunity for that MDE cost share to improve. That's always a negotiation piece with the state as we get further along in all this. That doesn't get locked in until we get to actual bids being received, is my understanding. The percentages would be negotiated and locked in there at 90%, but the actual dollar amounts don't get locked until 100%. You know, when there's bids that have been received for the project. I did include in the very bottom there, on this slide, a little comparison with what we were projecting for the 10% OPCC, and that is where it keyed me into looking, okay, where are our significant differences? And so the 10% OPCC had the percentage up there closer to 80%. So I think we're in that 70 to 80 ballpark, a percent contribution by the state that we would be expecting for this project. Just getting into where we're headed. December 20th, you know, right there before Christmas, is our 60% delivery. We're about, you know, I guess close to a month out from that, and I know it's been a busy time for me in particular, trying to get the team to push things together. We have a nice technical review committee coming up. That's an opportunity for senior engineers to look at our project and give us feedback on, you know, what we're doing and kind of see it from an outside perspective, which can always be a good thing. So that's something that's coming up here in the next couple weeks. So we're trying to get that locked in, have that review, be able to respond, and then give it to you guys. Yeah, this particular slide though, you'll see 60% is right there in the middle for December 20th. We're expecting to be done with the final design work there in the spring, so in, you know, about April-ish, and then you know, everything else considered, be able to put it out to bid, and then there is, if we continue to proceed, there would be, and this happens during the, you know, our work with the town and with MDE. There's like a 7-month holding period while the funds are allocated by the Maryland Bureau of Public Works. So we knew about that, and that kind of sets it here. So if we continue down this track, we're looking at, yeah, beginning of 2026 to be able to, you know, let it loose to break some ground. And with that, that's all that I have, and yeah, happy to talk more and answer any questions you have.
If you could explain total cost after escalation to construction midpoint.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That is a fancy way of saying we're trying to account for things in the future costing more than they do today.
Here's another
Like
frightening point.
inflation.
Today's dollars, total cost in today's dollars.
Yes.
For some reason, I have it stuck in my head when we first started these discussions way back, it was like $20 million the project was going to cost. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, we're not anywhere near starting this project, and we're already at $44 million.
Yeah.
My guess is that by 2026, we're looking at 50, 60 million. my guess, as a layperson.
Right. And I would say there have been a few significant changes in the design that have gotten us to a higher dollar amount. We've also had, I think, quite a bit of inflation over the last few years that have gone into and are reflecting in the cost estimates that are being presented today. The bottom line for it's about a 10% increase that we're thinking about right there, starting in January. Just to explain that number a little bit clearer, the construction midpoint, we're estimating it's gonna take about 18 months to complete. So you go right in the smack dab middle of that for the 9-month period, and you say, okay, we're escalating to there, to think that things at the beginning of the project are gonna cost less than that, things at the end of the project are gonna cost more than that. And that's what we go with. So it's 5% per year is what we're expecting right there.
I guess one of the biggest things
Yeah.
is, or one of the scary, well, the whole thing is scary, the amount of it, but
Yeah,
MDE, we won't know what they're gonna award us until so much further down the line. And I just feel like there should be a better way, I mean, this is a big undertaking, and the MDE says, well, I'll give you the amount in another 6 months, 9 months, 7 months, whatever it is. And until then, we're kind of like up in the air, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly or Steve, I mean, they're guessing they're gonna pay 70 to 80%.
MDE is a partner in this too. We've been working with our engineering contact over there, Mr. Matt Marshall, to be able to help understand where we're at in the process, where we're going. He's reviewed some of our information already. And so this is the next kind of, say, big item to discuss and get on the books with him as we approach 90% to know that we're doing okay. This is something that he's looked at already, and as part of the preliminary engineering report efforts to work with the percentages. So MDE is
What are
is
the
definitely in
chances
the
of us getting a higher percentage?
I'd say they're higher percentage than what was allocated during the preliminary engineering effort. I'd say very high. There were a few items that, we, at the end of that effort, got to like, okay, we're gonna agree to disagree about, how this is designed right now. They're gonna come together during final design, but MDE wasn't comfortable like having a cost share in it at that point. And so those items will be incorporated as fully fundable items that will push the percentage up. That's why I'm saying that I'm expecting it to be in the 70 to 80% range for when we are all done with this effort.
So you said there have been some significant design changes.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna pretend to know a lot about how all of this works or get into a lot of detail. What are some of the major changes or obstacles that we've had? Like, are we getting a significant amount of more capacity that we can treat in a 24-hour period? Are we, like, compared to what I 100% understand we
Yeah.
need to update what we have because it's aged. It's gonna have to be replaced or upgraded. What changes are we looking at that we're going to get for $44 million?
Okay. I'd say the original plan, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's from the 60s.
Correct.
Is when it started.
Correct, 1968, 69.
Right. And then I know there was a design, I look at the record drawings pretty frequently. Those have 88 date on them. It probably was built in the 90s.
Correct.
Like 1990.
Correct.
That 1990 work was essentially an expansion of the 1960s design. So the plant kind of operates as a 1960s type of plant. It's very manual.
It's outdated, it's manual, it's
Yeah.
not high-tech.
It's manual. There are things that are aged. This is, when we're looking at this for an upgrade, MDE looks at it as an opportunity for higher treatment standards. So the trout stream that gets, the discharge to, there at George's Run, we're discharging less poundage of nitrogen and phosphorus to that stream. It's a higher quality effluent that's coming out of the plant. And, you know, it will be a much more operator-friendly plant. You know, the energy costs will be more because you're treating to a higher standard. But the hands-off piece of the plant will be much, much more improved.
But that's also why you'd probably get more funding from ENR.
That's right.
Okay.
That's why you get more funding from ENR. And
That might be
Rodney's done a good job too, you know, in addition with grant funding, MDE likes to, you know, partner these with their SRF loans and loan funding. I believe when Rodney put this in here, you guys were top 5 in the state for, as far as ranking for, you know, availability for those loans. So you're on the list for that as well. You know, I don't think it was number 1. I don't think it was 5. I think you were like 3 or so. But, you know, high on the list of important projects that the state has identified. So,
So then,
that helps.
cost to run this, and I probably have the wrong word. I heard that we have like one, I don't know if it's blower is the right word, but one thing that runs, that we're now gonna go up to like 3 or 4 that are gonna run continuously. So that's gonna be a lot, in, just from what I would assume, a lot higher energy cost and a lot more expense.
Mhm.
Do we have anything in place with this design? I realize we're not finished the design, to help kind of defray some of the costs of the energy consumption and the extra expenses that we're gonna have in that aspect of
Yeah.
newer, bigger, faster, better, I don't know what the right word is.
Yes, yes.
Efficient.
Yeah, more, yeah, efficient, that's a, or do we have something to defray that efficiency expense?
We do, yeah. There's several components that are part of that. So, you know, when you're treating wastewater, it's about, you know, really 2 things. One, pumping air into it in certain points so that you allow that bacteria to degrade it and essentially eat it. You also need some amount of air or other mechanical means of energy putting in it to keep it mixed up. So you have a uniform treatment that actually occurs on everything there. We've decoupled those 2 pieces in our plant, and you can kind of see it here on the left with that. The big tank's got a bunch of pipes in it, a bunch of grids. One grid is the blower piping, like the aeration piping to actually add oxygen into there to be able to degrade the wastewater. The other one is for, they call it large bubble mixing. So it is air as well, but it just uses smaller compressors with a compressed air system to, at points, just dose large bubbles of air that just create turbulence to keep things mixed. That's an energy savings right there when you're not having, you know, when you're not having mechanical mixers in there that are moving around, or relying on your overall bigger air system to cause that turbulence. This plant will also take advantage of dissolved oxygen probes that are going in these particular zones, so that we're not dosing any more than we need to with the larger air consumption pieces. So those blowers operate on a variable speed so that you can just dose as you go along. The other nice thing that was added here as part of this project is the equalization tanks. They're ahead of the plant. Those will help smooth out the flow going through there, which is always a nice thing too. That'll keep the dosing to the plant at a constant, even level, which makes it easier to track, which makes it more efficient. So there's several components like that we're trying to implement here to make it a modern plant, but then also efficient and hands-off.
Adam, when will you have an annual operating cost estimate? At what point in the design? 75%, 80%?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know I did one as part of the preliminary engineering report efforts, but that was me as very much a mechanical engineer, not an electrical engineer. So I can push that to our team and see if that's something we can work towards. Yeah, probably after the 60% deliverable, but we can get it to you before 90, sometime
Very
right there
good,
at the end.
because
Before the end
one
of-
thing we have to look at is our chemical cost increase also, not only just our electrical, but our chemical. So,
And then one last question, and I could be confusing this. I believe we replaced something or we purchased something for the current plant that we have that we were in dire need of needing, that we are told would then be able to be moved to the new plant, but then we heard that it maybe couldn't be, and we redesigned something and we couldn't. Is that still
Adam
the case?
spoke about that. That was
That's the thing
the
that he talked
headwork-
about that we can
yeah,
still
it's
move. Okay, because then
currently going to be installed in the current headworks chamber. Then when the new headworks chamber is completed, it will fit into that area.
yeah, it
So-
wasn't Adam. It was someone else who said something about, well, no, we won't be able to
Yes.
use that. We'll have to replace
Yes.
it and get new.
And we're able to, Steve and I were talking about that the other day. I think that's the piece of equipment, it's like $40,000
Yep,
or
it's
something.
$40,000 or $50,000.
And I was like, how long are we using this for? And that's when he said we can repurpose it, and I was,
Yes.
okay,
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
okay.
So I know the piece that we're reusing, and I actually just pulled up the model here. Yeah, the piece of the town purchase that we're expecting to be there in, I think it's January, January,
Yes,
something like
correct.
that,
I
when it's-
believe end of December, beginning of January.
Yeah, they'll install, the screen portion that's here, to be able to, the current one's broken, so there's currently, I'd say a bunch of trash that's in the, it's in the current treatment tanks, that isn't able to be pre-removed from the wastewater stream. Yeah, we've been working with the state and with, Rodney and Caleb to, kind of evaluate a couple different options there. One with the Smith and Loveless one, that one's being purchased and being installed now. We'll take that and plug it into this component where, like a general contractor for this work would only purchase this Headworks skid unit less the screen. And it'd be part of their job to put it in.
Unfortunately, over the last several weeks, one of our effluent pumps, one of our submersible effluent pumps, 87 horsepower,
Yeah.
that gets replaced during the upgrade,
Yeah.
we feel that it burned up over the last several weeks. That's $40,000. So we're looking at replacing that and hopefully repurposing it, but that's all up in the air right now. There are some things we can do to the existing pump that may not include buying a whole new pump. So, yeah.
Adam, I had a question. You weren't here, it was prior to Steve coming back, but someone came in and
I think it was John, yeah.
Okay,
John
well-
Hamel, but, yeah,
I had some questions, and I'm going to ask it again.
okay.
Because we're at $44 million. We were not, when it was originally designed, the equalization tanks were not included. And my question was, knowing Hampstead has them and several other places around have them, or pretty much everybody has them, why weren't we advised to get them, especially now since we were charged to redesign or to add them, and we're paying that? In my opinion, part of that is not our problem. We weren't
Well-
advised we could do that. So I want to know if there's something that can be done about that, and I asked them to check into that. Have not heard anything, but that's a concern.
Okay.
I'm just asking if you can kind of pass that on, because maybe I'm missing something, but if that's something that we should have done in the first place, I'm not saying it was your fault, but why weren't we advised? Because I feel like
That a
that
redesign-
could have cut off 800 hours of engineer premiums we're paying. So I'd like to have that looked into, because I don't know why we weren't, until we went to some courses. Some people here went to some courses, Caleb and Rodney, and realized that we should probably have those. We kind of weren't advised we should have them.
Yeah.
And I realized from the way they explained to me, we should have them, but I feel like we ate a lot more cost having to have it, I don't want to say redesigned, but kind of redesigned. So
Added, yeah.
added,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
added on there.
and
Yeah.
that's fine to add the equalization tanks, but to have to pay engineers to redesign everything, I kind of feel like that was I didn't care for that too much, to be honest with you. So that's why I asked them to look into that, because that's a concern. If that was, and we were given the option in the beginning, we could have made that decision before they had to redesign everything.
Okay, I'd say redesign isn't accurate. I know I was working with the town throughout there to try and work on things that did not involve the equalization tanks. from a process standpoint, my understanding is that equalization is a nicety, like it's really nice to have them to like smooth out flow and give you a little extra buffer on storm events or, what we found for you guys' case is actually low flow events. You guys have a relatively buttoned up system. So being able to kind of store flow in there during the day and then kind of slowly dose it to the plant overnight is going to be a nice thing to do. Yeah, from a process standpoint, it's just something that's a nice thing to have. I wouldn't categorize it as a necessity for a plant. I know there are plenty of plants around that have them because they are nice.
How much more are
Operators
they?
like them.
How much more are they?
How much more are
If we
they?
take them, I'm not saying we won't get, I'm just curious what the cost was to add those equalization tanks.
This says $632,682. That's a cheap one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
they're
cheap on the list.
they're
I can look at it, that's okay,
yeah.
I
But
just,
anyway,
that was
yeah.
my concern, that's kind of been eating at me, I'll be honest with you, since I was told that we're adding them, and I was just wondering why, they weren't added in the beginning, and why I won't use the word redesigning, but why we're now adding them and paying the difference in cost to add them. Just, I know everybody, I get it, everybody's doing their work, but engineer fees are not cheap.
Yeah.
I found that out real quick when I looked at the bills, so,
Yeah.
just a thought, just some questions.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes? Sure.
Yeah.
This is all over my head, but do I understand correctly, the approximately 47 million is only for the design work that's done and distributed, that it doesn't include the actual building?
Oh, no, that is the construction cost.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole
Yes.
thing,
Oh,
yeah.
thank heaven. And also,
Yes.
the 9 million something, almost 9 million is Manchester's share.
Ms. Doxson, you're gonna have to go up so they can hear you, because you're being recorded. Thank you.
The almost $9 million is Manchester's share minus whatever percentage the state decides to give you. Is that right?
Well, it's 44 million.
No, Manchester's share.
It's approximately 13 to 15 million.
Is our share.
Oh, okay. Do we have that kind of money?
Well, I'm gonna send that to Kelly, because we have had this discussion. It's gonna depend on what they give us, and then we find out later, and then we'll have to do their loans that they give. I can't remember the name of the loan. I know there's a bunch of different options, but Kelly can tell you a little more about that. But there's a loan that you would get. It's like a low-interest loan, and then you,
For the state
Grants.
revolving loan fund.
Yeah, the state revolving loan
So,
funds, yeah.
Next Friday, Steve and I are meeting with the gentleman from MDE Financing
Okay.
and looking at the different packages that they have. One of the things we did find out that changed from the ENR grant and how the engineering worked with the PFAS project is different pot of money. You got to handle things differently with procurement, advertising and so forth, but because it's a different pot of money, we have to do so we can get loan forgiveness, but we have to do a lot more work.
Yeah.
It's a newer, as you know, it's a newer.
Like
pot
BABA
of
requirements
money.
and things like that, or?
Yes, yeah.
I can't remember what the loan's called. We talked about, I can't remember the name, but the loan forgiveness where they do the principal.
Yes, that's not this.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying like
Right,
that.
that's for
Yeah.
the PFAS
Yes,
project.
yes, but they don't have
Yeah.
something like that for this one?
We are not looking at any type of loan
Okay.
forgiveness because the PFAS is like the emerging
Yes, that's,
contaminant.
yeah.
It's a newer. The one thing that I will say is that we have had, since 2005, we've been collecting the bay restoration fee. And the funding for this project now, MDE's share, is what all that money's been going to. So as you're seeing the bay fee on your bill, this is what, we're seeing now, some of that money's granted.
Yeah.
But
Kind of, some of it come back anyway to us.
some of it, right. So, like I said, Steve and I are going to be meeting with people from MDE, the financing, which is nice, is they're looking at not only our wastewater ENR, but they're also looking at the water, the PFAS, and they work together. And so, you know, they want to help us.
We'll know more at the next meeting, hopefully to report after speaking to them.
Yeah.
You know, I know we won't have full numbers from MDE for a while, but at least maybe we can get some more information for everybody for next month.
One of the things that, like Adam said, is, you know, they originally said, you know, 2/3, 1/3. No to a lot of the things that we thought we wanted to add to it. And like he said, as the things start coming together, they may come back and say, yeah, that will work, or, you know, you have to have this in order to do that. And so we want that all to be, you know, a complete package. So hopefully, you know, that percentage, like he said, will go up. It's
Yeah.
never going to be 100%.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, but everything we can get, we'll
Yeah.
accept anything they want to
But
give,
as
that's
the-
for sure.
Costs are going up, and even that percentage is going up, it's still, it's going to be, I anticipate it's going to be, you know, a combination of rates, loans, and so forth, and we'll find out more.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer the question the best we could? Okay. All right,
And-
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, and we can't forget about the PFAS project.
That's a whole nother,
That's a whole nother.
that's, all
yeah.
the state regulations are really, that are coming down right now are,
That's why, Adam, I was so concerned about the annual operating costs. Of course, this is wastewater, PFAS is water, and we're getting estimates back for the PFAS treatment of just that one specific pump station of annual cost in excess of $150,000 a year, operating costs
for one station.
for the superstation, for one station. So we have to look at everything as an entire package.
Fortunate, we're not the only ones. The state is handing down so many regulations that we have to abide with. They do it for the police department too, not to the scale, but it seems like every time you turn around, there's a new regulation, and you don't have a choice but to abide. And these are not things that, you know, we're very, very, I'll say a frugal town, but there's only so many things you can plan for. We're doing the best we can, and we're gonna, you know, hopefully get some high numbers from the state, and, you know, we'll go from there, and we'll keep everybody posted on what's going on. Thank you.
No,
Nobody
so-
has anything else?
Yeah, so that's part of my job is to help communicate with the state and try and fight for you guys to get as much as you deserve.
Please communicate.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely will do.
Thank you.
The only other thing I'll add, one last bit, is to date, there hasn't been any, say, like mandate from the state to do the ENR upgrade. It's just been kind of the carrot of these grant funds that are on there. You're not under a consent decree or anything.
I
for
was
that
kind of talking about
matter,
PFAS, but yeah,
Yeah, for the PFAS, yes,
Yeah.
the PFAS, that's something
right,
many.
yes,
I hear this all over the
yes,
place.
yes.
But yeah, for this particular project, yeah, I'm interested to hear what the state has to say for you guys too. So keep me in the loop. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go to questions and comments from the community. So we will start with, I'm going to get back to the youth representatives in a minute. But I think the first person we have is it Kevin Walsh? No? Let me see Kevin Walsh. Okay. All right. Is there anybody other than the youth representatives that signed in to speak that I missed? Okay. All right, so Walter, we'll start with you because you were here first, so come on up to the microphone. There, I believe, 3 youth representatives from Manchester Valley that are going to speak. They'll take turns, or might be one month, might be 2 or 3, but we welcome them to bring information, so we'll start with Walter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Walter Sully. I'm a junior at Manchester Valley High School, and I'm also on the football team. I'm just going to briefly talk about some sport events that are going on at our school. This fall, we just wrapped up our football season. We finished 2-8, not the best season, but we lost first round in the playoffs to Sherwood, and then volleyball. finished their season well and had their first playoff game at home and beat Westminster 3-2, and then lost in the second round to Ligonor High School. Then we had field hockey, finished their undefeated season with a state championship over Glen Elk, 5-3. So that was wrapping up our fall sports, and then our winter sports are coming up this week. Indoor track, wrestling start this Friday. Winter cheer and basketball are also starting soon, and then we have our voice competition this Friday at 7, and the admission cost is $5. I talked about that last time, but it's coming up this week, and that's all I have. Is there any comments or questions?
I think that's it. Field hockey that was a good thing this week.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You were state champions, so
Yeah,
very good.
that was pretty cool. I think this was their second time. winning
Yeah, I think
state.
this is the second time they won state champions, but it's a big
Yeah.
deal, so.
Yeah,
We're undefeated too, right?
yeah.
17-0.
17-0.
Yeah.
And you have 2 more years to get the football team squared away, right?
Yeah, I have one more year. Next
Oh,
year.
one more.
Can I ask you, how do you, I mean, 2-8, I know you want to improve on that. You get in the playoffs with that, though?
I think, yeah, so every team in the county
Oh.
goes to,
Okay. It's like you renew your
Playoffs.
season.
Yeah.
Okay.
but if you have a not so good record, then you play a really
Lower
good
seed.
team.
Okay.
So that, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
Maybe
you.
we'll
Thank you.
see you next month. Okay, Emma?
Hello, I'm Emma Hubler. I'm a sophomore at Manchester Valley High School, and I'm going to talk briefly about performing arts and some other fundraising stuff that we have going on at the school. But first, last Friday we got the unfortunate news that we lost one of our students, a freshman, Riley Canada. He was in the performing arts. He played in the orchestra. So can we just take a moment of silence to honor him and his family? Thank you. Now, on a happier note, we finished up our senior directed one acts, our 4 shows. We wrapped those up on Saturday. On Saturday as well, we had our Veterans Day dinner and show where we honored our veterans. And we had performances from our school's honors vocal ensemble and the brass ensemble, which was lovely. Then and like Walter said, we have The Voice going on this Friday. On October 22nd, we had a campus cleanup sponsored by the Enviro Club at our school. We had a hygiene drive going on in late October where we collected hygiene products and diapers, wipes for people around the community. The class of 2025, their Grinch holiday bingo is December 14th. That is their class fundraiser that raises money for their grade, and so they can do a bunch of fun stuff. The FFA is having their fruit and nut holiday sale where you can buy fresh fruits and nuts to give as great Christmas presents. And then finally, the FBLA is having their gift wrap paper and Vineyard Vines t-shirt sale, which is going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And is it Rachel? Oh. Well, thank you for bringing Emma.
Thank you, Ms. Mom.
And is there a Yvette Rippion here? Oh, that's okay. Okay, that's all right. Right, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to say? Okay, so let's do our committee reports. So we have Councilman Nazaron.
Steve, thank you for communicating everything weekly with the bulletin board, like the bullet points. We appreciate that. Any holiday events coming up, please continue to communicate that, and everybody share out that the Santa Stroll and everything coming up for Manchester. And obviously, intergovernmental, we had an election. Thank you all for voting, and it was good to have the board results pretty much by the end of the night. That was the main local election, so thank you all for coming out if you did. From other government entities, they wanted, thank you for that.
Thank you. Councilwoman Howe.
I attended the Parks meeting last night, and we talked about the haunted trails, which was a huge success. They said they had about 500 people go through, which they were very pleased and happy with. And The only other activity that is scheduled is December 21st, from 6 to 8. It's winter solstice, however the heck you pronounce it. There's going to be stargazing and a night hike. No fire. I know I cursed. I know. Sorry. Can't take me anywhere. No fire because of the ban, but they're going to have some activities and some cookies and some hot chocolate. The only other issue I want to talk to the council about, we've had some issues with their projects. The council, the Parks Board has a lot of projects that they would like done. But where we've run into the past two issues was with the Eagle Scouts. So they come to the Parks Board, and the Parks Board says, oh, we would like this done. So the kids, okay, make a design, here we go, they come up here, we approve it. And we've had some issues because, like, if it's the little playground, the natural playground where they jump on stumps, they didn't put the right mulch in, because there's a difference between playground mulch and landscaping mulch. So, and then the latest one was the exercise stations through the trails. And then our staff went down and said, oh, you can't do this. It has to be 12 inches deep and you have to have this. So there's standards that aren't not being met. So my suggestion is two things. One, I'd like to meet with them after the first of the year so that we can discuss what their projects are. The second thing is I want to put together some sort of sheet, a check-off sheet. Okay, so the Eagle Scouts may say, I'm going to do this, and then it has to go to Parks so they can make their comments and recommendations to make sure that all standards are being met. And then it should go to the town administrator, and then before it comes to us. Because these poor Eagle Scouts are running into, it's taking them more time and costing them more money. So I'd like to avoid that, if we can.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to.
Definitely, and the last one, Evan Smith will be here December the 10th to show us the exercise stations he put in the trails.
Well, and it's probably not for lack of follow-through on their part. They're probably
No.
facing obstacles that they weren't aware of.
Exactly.
That weren't disclosed to them, that now they're
Right.
being reactive instead of proactive.
Exactly, and we don't know that. So I want to make sure that the Eagle Scouts don't, and it's frustrating because they want to get this done and they have time constraints. So I want to correct that situation so that they have a full understanding of everything. And the projects have gotten a little more detailed other than putting in a bench or painting a sign. So I'm going to suggest that we do that if that's okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I definitely do not want to deter the scouts from doing
No.
things because they're a big help in town. So I don't want
And
them
I wanna
by
make
any
it-
means to think
You want
it's
to
them.
streamline it?
Yeah, I want to streamline, I want to make it easier for them so that they don't get frustrated and say, oh, now I have to spend more time and I have to come up with more money.
Right.
Good.
So that's what I'd like to do, if that's okay with you
Yeah,
guys.
that's perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Miller?
All right, I have lots to share tonight. I'll be quick, though. So some good news. Our last meeting, I talked about touching base with Manchester Elementary. There is I believe it's fifth grade. Mrs. Smith, the art teacher, is lined up, I believe it's a fifth grade class, to come down to the tree that we're going to put in front of the Historical Center. As in tradition, the students are creating decorations. They're going to come decorate the tree, so we'll have that tree decorated. I believe they're coming either Monday or Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. I don't remember, but she's bringing them down. It is getting close to the holiday season. It's hard to believe it, but we are, holidays are right around the corner. Santa will be on the fire truck coming. Huh? Oh. Okay, we've moved on. So Santa on the fire truck is going to be in town and coming around to all of Manchester's first due area the first 2 weekends of December. The nights are very dependent on, of course, weather. So I would encourage you to keep track on the Facebook page because unless I'm mistaken, they're going to be doing their Facebook Live posts where they'll post, this is the neighborhoods or the sections that we're doing this night. And then you can go on Facebook and get like updates, we're on this street or finishing up here, that kind of thing. The Train Garden does open on Black Friday with our Santa Stroll. It is open every weekend until the 22nd, and the hours vary depending on the day. Some weekends it's just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So just check the fire department website for that one. Additionally, on the 18th, it looks like it's the 20th annual holiday drive between the Tree of Friends Foundation and the fire department. I believe the ornaments are going to be posted on the 18th. It's on their website. No, I believe they're still doing the drive.
Okay, we haven't heard.
It's online.
Okay.
Okay. Check Dutch Corner on no, on the 18th. There might be ornaments.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I did want to share out, something exciting that's coming to our town. Holiday time is a busy time, and it seems to be a lot of competition between who gets what day for the good day for Breakfast with Santa. So here in Manchester, we're going to be trying something different. We're going to be doing a Christmas movie night. So instead of having Breakfast with Santa, the cost of food is astronomical right now. We're looking at doing something different. It will be on Friday, December 20th. We're going to be doing a screening of the 2018 version of Grinch, the newest version of the Grinch. So it's a family movie night. There'll be food for purchase. There'll be like games and crafts and that kind of thing. But the doors will open at 6 and the movie will start at 7, just trying to do something different that nobody in the area seems to be doing and see if that gets some more people out. So information is on our town site, the fire department website, Facebook, it's all over. So just be sure to check out those upcoming holiday events.
Very good. Thank you. Councilman Pacelli?
The next meeting of the North Carroll Business Alliance is November 21st at noon at Spargo's. As of yesterday, they're keeping the agenda secret as well as the identity of the speaker. They do have a special request. Susan from Dutch Corner has been asked to prepare a Thanksgiving dinner for 50 or so students at the North Carroll Boys and Girls Club. She wants to make it as special as possible, but it is expensive. If you're able to donate, please see Susan at Dutch Corner. That would be it.
Thank you very much, Vince. I think that's really all we have for tonight, so can we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Very good. Good night, everyone. Thank you
Right.
for coming out. Happy Thanksgiving.